Westworld is a 1973 science fiction western film. The film is about an amusement park where people can go to 3 locations, one being Roman world, one being Western world, and the other being medieval world. And these worlds are created as fantasy places where people can go to them and basically live out their holidays there as a cowboy, a knight, or a Roman. I'll say it right off the bat, this is a brilliant concept. This film plays with the fantasy that a lot of people have of what it would be like to live in the Old West and to be a cowboy. And the way this world works is it's set in the future, so scientists have created this park and all the figures and characters are robots. And they're designed in a way not to harm human guests. And for the most part, I found this idea genius. I would nearly call this idea in the same vein as Jurassic Park, as we've always wanted to encounter dinosaurs in real life. And here this film does the same thing, but instead of dinosaurs, it's what it would be like to live in the Old West. And speaking of Jurassic Park, the director who directed Westworld also wrote the novel for Jurassic Park, which then turned into the Steven Spielberg film Jurassic Park. So you could see how these ideas are very similar. I also liked a lot of the techniques that were in the film. This film brilliantly uses slow motion very well. However, that is all the good stuff. The rest of this film is kind of rubbish a little bit. It's not a bad film, but other than the idea, which is complete genius, this film did feel a bit weak. This film was released in 1973 and it doesn't hold up as well. The idea holds up, but the rest of this film just doesn't. Like, one of the biggest problems this film has is it raises a lot of questions, for the most part don't get answered until a couple of minutes later. There were parts where I wondered how this world worked. To me, I felt like I should have gotten those answers right there. Instead, I had to wait until this is how it works. And the protagonist is a bit of a moron. Like, the protagonist asks questions that even the audience would know before he knows the answer. To me, I felt like he was the biggest idiot in this film. And some of the rules of how this world works kind of annoyed me. Like, there's this thing where robots can't harm humans, and I know in the last half the robots start revolting and start killing the human guests. However, there's a thing where apparently the animals are all robots, including the horses, so when the chase scene between the robot gunslinger and the protagonist happens, and they're riding on horses, how come the robot horse doesn't kill the protagonist if all the robots are killing the human guests? This puzzled me. And I had no idea how it worked. Another thing that bothered me was the use of music. And for the most part, this music was pretty good. The way they used it was really odd to me. Like, there were some scenes that called for music, however there was no music there, and then there were scenes where music was played and it didn't need it. Like, there's this one specific scene where the protagonist's best friend is killed, and yet dead silence, no music at all. Your best friend's dead, and there's no dramatic score to raise the emotion. And one final thing is the chase scene in the last half hour. No tension at all. It was dull, slow, boring. Overall, I liked the idea of this film, and it's a good idea, and you can see why HBO is making a TV show out of it. However, this film just doesn't hold up, and it has a lot of holes in it that absolutely pissed me off. The film tackles the science fiction aspect of this film very well, however the rest of it doesn't do as well. If the whole film was set around this one idea, I would have been okay with it. Instead, near the end, they had to turn it into a by-the-numbers thriller film. I would kind of recommend it. It's a solid idea, and it definitely makes up for a lot of the film. However, the things I listed are there, and it did bug me. And in points, the film did feel cheesy, corny, and speaking of that, the dialogue is pretty weak as well. And I'm going to give Westworld a 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, be sure to like my Facebook page, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to my channel below. As always, I'm NETX5. Thank you for watching.